Right, let's expand on this conversation. We're joined now by Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane. A very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time, Chair. Deputy President Paul Mashatile spoke in great depth today as he delivered his keynote address during the first three-sphere planning session of the NCOP, emphasizing the importance of unity, planning, working together. Perhaps expand a little on the intentions of the three-sphere planning session.
No, thank you very much, and thank you for having me today in your studio. First and foremost, I think it would be important for me to start off by saying that as the NCOP, in terms of the constitutional mandate that is being conferred to us, is to make sure that we represent the interests of provinces and make sure that those interests are taken into account as the national sphere of government plans in according with their 7 administration priorities. Therefore, basically, all that it says is that we are the only house that is empowered by the Constitution to oversee the strategic cooperation amongst the 3 spheres of government, which is fostered through the intergovernmental relations and cooperative governance oversight. I must indicate that we had quite a very fruitful and insightful, robust engagement in this regard, as all 3 spheres of government were gathered together in one house with the sole intention of making sure that there is one implementable plan that is accordingly budgeted for by all 3 spheres of government.
Yeah.
We have convened that, of which we've had the Deputy President of the Republic of South Africa as the keynote address, outlining the priorities of government, national government in the next coming 5 years, and making commitment and assertions to say that indeed, for government to operate effectively and efficiently, we ought to work together as one, irregardless of us being 3 different spheres of government. Now, our role as Parliament is to ensure that we oversee the work that has been done by national government, as well as that is being done by provincial government, in making sure that our people are given quality services that they've been so for many years as South Africans. But also to indicate that we've had a presentation that was done by the Department of Monitoring and Evaluation, which indicated that there has been a concerted effort of making sure that the transformation agenda is being propelled forward through the 3 spheres planning and coordination.
In fact, if you'll allow me to just interrupt you there, you speak about the quality services that South Africans have yearned for. We heard the Deputy President Paul Mashatile saying that government is introducing a public-private partnership model in water supply, working with National Treasury, the Department of Water and Sanitation, all of this in efforts to resolve what he referred to as a potential water crisis, which has reached crisis levels in some parts of the country even years ago. This is a collaboration which should have been formed ages ago and not seen as a potential crisis, because the water situation is a crisis already.
Well, we must say that as Parliament, we welcome the initiative, an initiative which we will definitely be monitoring very closely. As you would recall that for some time, national government has been putting emphasis to say that we need to collaborate as well with private sector in making sure that we expedite the delivery of services. And accordingly, for us to fast track and make sure that there's a sense of agency, not alone financially, but also in terms of acquiring the relevant expertise from private partners in making sure that projects are being done, and not just being done for the sake of doing them, but then there's quality work that goes with this. all the relevant expertise that are needed. If we don't have them at government, let them be sourced through private sector. Basically, all that they are saying, apart from financial injection by private sector, there are other initiatives that they would be sorting assistance in regards to human capital as well. Therefore, as Parliament, we welcome that initiative and we will accordingly be monitoring the progress that has been made thus far in making sure that our people are getting quality services that they so deserve.
In your address today, you spoke about a question that's been before the NCOP, which essentially asks, to what extent has your institution lived up to the spirit and expectations that undermine the formation of the NCOP as underwritten by your constitution?
Well, if you would recall, the NCOP it's another house which forms part of Parliament. We are not second to Parliament, and therefore to gear and reposition the NCOP, it's very crucial at this point in time, particularly where the emphasis is around the mandate that has been conferred to us in terms of Section 4 of Intergovernmental Framework Act. And therefore, we need to make sure that there is collaboration between national sphere of government as well as provincial government and as well as our municipalities through the implementation of their IDPs and also the priorities as set out by the President as well as the ministers in the various budget speeches and of course our premiers through the SONA deliveries. And therefore, as NCOP, we've got an important role to play in this regard in making sure that we foster coordination and we make sure that the limited resources that are at the disposal of government are used prudently and there is no duplication of responsibilities.
So in your efforts, in your efforts to strengthen these collaborations, what strategies will you be implementing to deepen the collaboration and the connections in the three spheres of government?
What we then need to do as the way forward beyond this point is that we need to convene a session where we will be developing and implementing a comprehensive three-sphere planning oversight framework and mechanisms that will then facilitate the intergovernmental relations, which will be aimed at enhancing cooperation amongst the three spheres of government. Therefore, within this context, the apex priority is to ensure that each level of government is able to effectively execute its functions whilst minimizing duplication of efforts and potential losses. And therefore, to us, that would be crucial. And I think we are agreeing that beyond convening the annual three-sphere planning and report back session, our IGR and cooperative governance oversight framework and mechanism will enable us to conduct regular and targeted IGR and cooperative governance oversight by conducting oversight over critical IGR structures across all three spheres of government.
How would you then say that South Africans and citizens alike will begin to measure the impact of your work when it boils down to services on a day-to-day basis in their communities?
When we're not working alone as lawmakers, we are also encouraging members of our communities through petitioning system that we have introduced. We are moving towards e-petitioning system, but not negating, of course, the fact that there are some of our communities in rural areas which might not necessarily have access to internet network systems. And therefore, the petitioning system will enable and empower our communities to raise issues that are pertinent to them, that needs urgent attention, and so that they too are part and parcel of checks and balance that we are doing as members of parliament. And therefore, we want to encourage them, use various methods that are in place to make sure that they raise issues sharply. Not only that, but also when the committees of parliament sits and meet and deliberate with departments, they too have a role to play in making sure that they raise those issues so that they can be factored into the work of parliament, and of course making sure that executive is held accountable in accordance with the issues as they were equally raised, not only by members, but also the members of the community.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. We're going to have to leave our conversation there. Speaking there to the Chairperson of the National Council of Provinces, Refilwe Mtsweni-Tsipane.